patch notes? You guys want to look at the patch notes? So first things first, if you guys have not seen it, here's the new DDO website. So this is the new DDO website. So if you go to like the front page here, Hunter and Hunted, and then you've got the release notes. Somehow, there it is. So you can have like the update notes are here, so you can actually separate it out so you can see it. Also, downtime notice, 9 to 1 tomorrow, the game will be unavailable for the patch. So keep that in mind. Patch notes. Also, I have to move everything over to the right side because that's how it is now. Here we go. Isle of Dread. Look, you got like a little dinosaur poking out here. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him poking out. Okay, so we have Isle of Dread. Release notes, U54. So, optional pre-purchase for the Isle of Dread begins on Wednesday. So learn more about the upcoming Isle of Dread expansion in the DDO market. The cult of Vecna has been sighted in the region, and now a mysterious island has appeared off the coast. It can't be a coincidence. Prehistoric dangers await any who set foot on the island's shores, so only true heroes will be capable of surviving the threats and stopping the cult. Experience new adventures, new monsters, and a level cap increase to 32. Play the new character race, the Tabaxi or the iconic Tabaxi Trailblazer, and get your permanent Raptor hireling and more. The Isle of Dread is currently scheduled to be released on June 8th, 2022. June 8th. Hell yeah. Close to my birthday. My birthday is June 2nd. This is a late spring, early summer, June 8th. That means I have a month to play D2R. All right. Anyway. Once you have pre-purchased Isle of Dread, you can speak to an NPC located in the Hut from Beyond, the harbor docks named Zalanth, to pick up your pre-purchase items. Cool. Your birthday is June 8th? Nice. Happy birthday to you. Bug fixes. Eldritch Knight. Damage dice will add up. Eldritch Knight's force point no longer spams your combat log. Fix a typo and quicken metamagic enhancement in Exalted Angel. Why are bug fixes first? Anyway. A variety of active Exalted Angel mantles no longer work underwater. Aww. Or angel abilities don't work underwater. Exalted Angel now gives you magical training when it didn't. Fix typos with Green and Shadow Dragon Breath, Draconic Incarnation. Feywild Attunement and Shrouded Champion now grants its lifted spell power. These are all just a bunch of bug fixes. So if you're worried about some of this stuff, these are stuff that we've already seen on the test server. All this, there's nothing really new here. I'm just reading over for if there's anything new. Core 2 and Shrouded now provides the double and listed dodge and fort bypass because it wasn't doing that. Fatesinger's Grandeur, which is the second core, now works. Fatesinger's Featherfall no longer drops on, or Air Savant's Featherfall no longer drops on death. Interesting. Shader Kai Chain can be used while quelled, which was a very funny interaction. You almost never saw this unless you played as a holy character and a Shader Kai, because regular rogues can't be quelled. Magus of the Eclipse, Lunar Insight now works. Yay! This is the, when you use Arcane Insight, you gain spell points. That now functions. All Magus actives can be used while moving. Yeah! Magus is getting so much better, by the way, in this patch. Here, whose birthday is July 25th? That's yours? Oh, how many other people who have the same birthday? Good question. Yeah, birthday problem strikes again. It's true. Let's see. Well, it's also today. It was Eric's birthday and Chaotic D&D's birthday. Two people on the same day. What are the odds? Clarified Vistani Core 4's tooltip to make sure it's more accurate. Regeneration no longer has visual effects. No longer has visual effects bugs. Sure. Green Steel Regeneration no longer drops on death. Raging Blows and Barbarian now crackly grants its plus 1W. Apparently this wasn't working, which is crazy because everyone was taking this. So I'm surprised either this took so long to get fixed or even reported. I don't know. I didn't know this wasn't working. I always took it. Pale Master Undead Shrouds should now persist better through logout. Holy Mantle Divine Crusader should persist, and Abyssal Shroud. Basically, they're trying to make stuff so that you don't have to click things on and off when you log in and out. Apparently, it has something to do with like the check server or the server and how it checks off individual things. If you want to know more about that, check the episode that Linabelle and I did for Dungeon Developer Insights, where we went for the year review for 2021, and you'll see it in there. Pin no longer now grants 3W instead of 1, and it no longer has a DC, which is good because it shouldn't. So fix a typo in the Draconic Destiny Mantle, that's good. Fix typo in Sherodic Epic Moment, sure, typos are good to fix. Killer Instinct now has removal floaty text to make it clearer when it wears off. This is important because I always forgot about Killer Instinct, and since it didn't have removal floaty text, it would drop off and I wouldn't notice. So that's a good choice. Storm's Eye now has no removal floaty text since that makes it visually obstructive. It did this? I haven't used Storm's Eye in such a long time. Sign of the Astral Plane no longer drops on death. So I didn't know that this actually happened, but the fact that it does, Sign of the Astral Plane's been in the game for a long time. So I'm glad they're fixing it, but oh my god. Like, oh my god, dude, that's so long. Monsters casting Flame Strike will now damage players again. So, if you are unaware, Flame Strike coming up from monsters was doing no damage. This is your Hobgoblin Clerics and other stuff. So, Shanticore is now going to be very deadly. All over the Cerulean Hills, you've got monsters that are very deadly. Just keep that in mind for Hardcore League. This won't matter too much if you're a regular game player, but Hardcore 6, this is going to annihilate people. Because it hits very hard. So just keep that in mind. Epic Delirious Runearm now drops as intended. Saltmarsh Runearm now drops as intended. Creeping Doom Divine Wrath no longer go through spell absorption. This is essential because Creeping Doom is what is one of the 2 spells that kills people in the new raid, Hunter Be Hunted. So very, very good. Delilah the Just Raid Quest Giver no longer tries to teleport into the dungeon no matter what you tell her, which is good. They basically actually fixed the dialogue options. I don't know how that got broken. Epic spell power categories no longer require minimum level 26. I don't know what that means. Fix some typos. Displacement no longer takes enlarge, which is really funny. Artificers should find it easier to mount up while charging their rune arm. I'm currently able to mount while holding my rune arm, which is a bug. Prevented scenarios where Reaper Ring enchantment could be erroneously non-applied to non-ring items. So, non-applied? You mean applied? Anyway, there's a problem right now where Reaper Ring enchantment basically works on anything. So if you have a Reaper Ring enchantment, you could get it on gloves or you can get it on boots. And that's a problem because it's a really good enchantment. So they're getting rid of that. Crazy Strike now grants its W bonus correctly. Apparently this also wasn't working, which is astonishing. So Barbarians are going to be getting like a +3 W buff out of nowhere. So very cool. Fatesinger Core 2 and 3 actually grant their DCs. They didn't. That's fun. Shillelagh now does a thing. Sure. Alright, gameplay changes. When you release from a dungeon while dead, you'll be brought back to life with 20 hit points instead of 1. So when you go back, when you release and show up in a tavern, you have 20 hit points. This also means when you release to your ship, you will never again have the problem where you release, go to the ship, click the buff thing, and it kills you. That's gone. Because you come up with 1 and not, or 20 and not 1. So that should be exciting. Trap the Soul has gotten an overhaul. Basically, the way it works is it's a 10-second cooldown, and you just need to have a gem. So you can just go buy the gem from the store that you need for it, and you can cast on whatever you want. Trap the Soul is now an actual endgame DPS ability, and DPS instant kill ability, and it's Conjuration. It was already useful on Warlock, and now you can use it on other classes, and you'll probably see some wizards and sorcerers incorporating Trap the Soul, since it just works on all the monsters now. And then Sharadi Caster Mantle changes. I don't know why this is here, but yes. All proc dice have been raised to 77d7. The damage has been raised to 100%, and the proc rate has been raised to 7%. This only affects the spellcaster, not the ranged. If you're a bow character or a crossbow character, don't worry about it. And the elements offered have changed. Now you may select from light, force, poison, or sonic. So there's that. So you can, you can now change it. Cold is now gone. There is no more Stay Frosty. Stay Frosty is completely gone. You now have Stay Good, Stay Forceful, Stay Sick or something, and Stay Loud are the new abilities. So there's no Stay Frosty. Stay Frosty has been purged. The slow is now on Force, which is better. It's literally just a buff for ranged characters if you were using Stay Frosty before. To give you a quick 411 on this situation, I did a bunch of tests on the test server to figure out what the heck was going on. And if this unnerfed Sharadi enough, and it didn't. Sharadi Mantle is still bad for damage, and I don't recommend you use it on any character at all that is casting spells. It's the worst out of all of them, and it doesn't have cool effects like healing your entire raid, or temporary hit points, or reducing the cooldown of your spells. So, I don't know. And then the following Destiny Mantles now deal a d6 plus 6 damage per cast level when they proc. Magus, Fatesinger, Primal Avatar, and Exalted Angel. So to give you a bit of an example, this is a 3 times damage buff for Fatesinger. This is like a 5 times damage buff for Primal Avatar. It's like a 5 times damage buff for Exalted Angel. And it's like a 2.5 times damage buff for Magus of the Eclipse. Important note, Magus of the Eclipse and Fatesinger still suffer from, at least when I was testing them, they can't critically strike, which is a huge decrease in their effectiveness. So unless they change that, we'll see. All right, and then we have Tabaxi and Tabaxi Iconic. So the Tabaxi race and Tabaxi Trailblazer Iconic have been added. Tabaxi are a base race that starts in Ebron. Resembling great cats, like jungle cats, Tabaxi are a dexterous race that are light on their feet. Their innate feat Wait, their innate feat allows them to move more quickly after spending a short time planning their next move. Tabaxi make good rogues, monks, and bards. They get +2 dexterity, and their starting feat is feline agility. After standing still for 6 seconds, you get a movement speed by 20% movement speed bonus for 6 seconds. Now, this might not seem that good, because you have to stand still for quite a long time, but it does get better, and just the fact that you can randomly get this is always going to be nice. But let's move on. So first, they have their different cores. They get dodge and max dodge or max dexterity bonus in light armor. And then at 3 and then at 5, they also get dodge and dodge cap, which is nice. Their multi-selector stat is dexterity and charisma, but they also get you gain dexterity to hit with dagger, hand axe, hand wraps, kama, kukri, light hammer, light mace, light pick, rapier, short sword, sickle, or while unarmed or in a druid animal form. So automatic dexterity to hit and damage. And apparently in druid animal form. That's kind of interesting. So if you're just druid, you get dex to hit and damage automatically. Kind of neat. Or dex to hit. They get an ability called Cat Scratch, which is a frontal AoE cleave attack. They get bonuses to their attack. They get an acrobatic, which gives them bonus skills, whatever. Land on your feet so you don't take falling damage. And sneak attack dice. Moving up to the tier 2, we have extra attack while flanking. If you did not know, flanking is a mechanic in DDO. If you stand behind a monster, you have +2 to hit. All right, have a good night, Adam Scott Game. Enjoy your evening. Anyway, you get +2 to hit while flanking. If you get flanking bonuses, you can get them even higher. These surprise claws will bring you up to +5. You can get some out of Tactician from Legendary Dreadnought for an extra +6 or something. You get an extra +3 out of Shadow Dancer. So you can actually get a bunch of flanking bonuses and actually have like an almost +11, 12 to hit, which is just dumb. So, I don't know. Stand behind the monsters. If you need more incentive, please do it. Then you get Hunt Down, which improves your Cat Scratch to slow monsters. I don't think this effect is very good, but it is in the game. High Places, which is after you fall for 1.5 seconds. You gain critical confirmation, damage, and armor piercing. This effect is surprisingly easy to keep up. If you have Feather Falling and a maxed out jump, all you have to do is jump off of any platform. So any raise, if it's a flat ground, it doesn't work. But if there's like a staircase, if there is a small box, a small lip, if you jump from the lip down at max jump height with Feather Falling, you will get this effect active. It's very easy to keep up. Even a lot of raids, you can keep this up. As an easy example, in the raid Project Nemesis, there's all these like bumps on the floor because there's like cables running around. You just step on a cable and jump off of it, and you'll have this buff. Honed Reflexes. You get the benefit of the Deflect Arrows feat, knocking aside an incoming projectile. So Deflect Arrows in a race is very, very cool because you can spend your racial points on it. So people that were spending Deflect Arrows on stuff before from Vistani Knife Fighter or in their other taken feats, you can now get it here. And Slip Out of Danger, where you gain bonus to saves versus traps, which is awesome. This will be very helpful if you want to play this on hardcore because saves versus traps in your racial tree is great. Then you have Stabby Claws for some extra damage. Dodge Bypass from corner. This is one of the few places in the entire game that you can get Dodge Bypass. It is extremely rare and hard to come by. This allows, so it lets you beat an enemy's dodge. Most monsters in the entire video game can't dodge. The only ones that can are Fey champions, Hero Soul champions, and monsters from the raids Dryad the Demigod and Hunter Be Hunted. Everything else in the game can't dodge. So it's very niche stat, but it's hard to come by. Improved Nimble Cat. You gain dexterity to damage with dagger, hand axe, hand wraps, blah, 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 the same thing. So this gives you dexterity to damage. So you get dex to hit by a baseline, and 11 points deep, you get dex to damage. Then you get Focus Agility. Your feline agility only requires you to stand still for 3 seconds and lasts for 9, so which is a lot better, as well as more sneak attack dice. And then the tier 5, where you get feline versatility, so you can have offhand strike chance while using a light weapon or rapier in both hands, double strike while single weapon fighting, double shot with thrown weapons, and vigor, spell-like ability. They're fine. Deep Scratches, which adds a bleed to the Cat Scratch, which is your frontal cleave. I don't think this is good, but we will see. I didn't get to test the bleeding effect. It was bugged on the menu. 9 Lives, where you gain the Rogue's Defensive Roll feat. This is a very powerful ability, depending on what you're doing in the low levels of play. Low levels is in like normal, hard, elite difficulty. If you're in a higher difficulty, higher Reaper mode, if you're under 20%, or if you're like around 20%, you're probably going to die in one hit anyway. But yeah. And what it does is it says that while you're below 20%, you can make a reflex save for the attacks to do half. So keep that in mind. Fast sprinters, so your feline agility now grants 30% bonus movement speed for 18 seconds. So if you stand still for 3, you get 18 seconds of fast speed. This is easy to acquire and come by because you just stand still for like a short period of time. Say you open a door or something, or you're just fighting monsters, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're rocketing past. So it's good. And evasion. This sounds like it's really good on a tier 4. Remember, it's 16 racial points to get, and almost every character class that can make you use out of evasion, all the intelligence-based classes and dexterity-based classes generally get it, right? So, like, Wizard doesn't get evasion, but you can get it of Shadow Dancer, which you might spend points in a Wizard anyway, or you multi-class with a Rogue. Alchemists get evasion, Rangers and Rogues get evasion, so, like, Bards maybe could use it. It sounds really good. I'm not saying this is bad, but it probably sounds better than it is. Just keep that in mind. And then you have the Tabaxi Trailblazer, who is the iconic. Yes, the patch is tomorrow. Tabaxi Trailblazer is iconic, so start in Charm with 1 level of Monk. Passed down between generations of Tabaxi, the title of Trailblazer represents this Tabaxi's ability to always find its way forward. Like standard Tabaxi, they gain the ability to negate falling damage with quick bursts of speed. Tabaxi Trailblazers can also gain True Seeing and defensive bonuses when they dodge and tumble. They also expand their dexterity to excel with quarterstaffs, gaining offensive bonuses with weapons, and the ability to use them to trip all nearby enemies. So, they get the same base stats as everything else. Oh, I didn't go over the past life bonus, but it's dexterity. The Tabaxi Trailblazer Iconic gets their past life stance is plus to trip DCs as they're active, so you can get plus 3 trip DCs, and their passive is plus to saving throws versus traps. So if you have this, you get plus 3 to saving throws versus traps for 3 past lives, which is not bad. Then they get dodge bypass as their cores, dodge bypass and dodge bypass, so they get the highest amount in the game at a total of 6%. They can take Dex or Wisdom as their multi-selectors, and they also get the Dex hit and damage stuff, but they include quarterstaffs as a baseline, so you don't need to get that from some other source. This means that if you play as a Tabaxi Trailblazer, you actually don't even need to use the Ninja Spy tree to get the Dexterity and damage, which is convenient if you want to play a Dex-based Tabaxi. We're only going to use the look at these ones, which are the change things. They also get trip DCs, and double, which is doubled if you're using a quarterstaff. Staff deflection. While you're holding a quarterstaff, you gain, and you deflect arrows, you get double strike. It says Wayfinder's weapons, quarterstaves, and wooden weapons you're wielding are immune to damage. So all quarterstaves just don't take any damage, which is sweet. And then Great Weapon Aptitude, where you have extra strike through, and then again quarterstaffs to damage. And their tier 4s are mostly unique, so they keep the fast movement speed stuff, but they get Wide Sweep, where it's a trip cleave attack that uses the highest of your dexterity or wisdom. And it's very, very, very powerful. This attack is great. It uses highest of Dex or Wisdom, so if you're playing as a Wisdom-based or a Dexterity-based monk, or whatever you are, it's a really strong ability, and you will be using this all the time. Then they get Springing Pounce, where they get Spring Attack for free, so if you didn't take Spring Attack, you just get it here. And if you use it while holding a quarterstaff, you gain Feline Agility, so it procs your Feline Agility, so you don't even have to stand still anymore if you have this, which, by the way, that's really good. And it deals bludgeoning damage equal to your jump score to all enemies. I don't know why, but that's awesome. Cat's Eye, you have True Seeing. And Escape Artist, when you tumble, you gain Incorporeality and Concealment. So if you play, as a Thief Acrobat, you gain so many stats when you tumble, which is kind of cool. So overall, Tabaxi, regular Tabaxi and Tabaxi Trailblazer, are they going to be amazing? They're probably not going to be game-changing, but the Wide Sweep is extremely powerful for pretty much any type of content, because this trip is going to work on tons of different monsters, and trips are really good for like constructs and undead, so really, really useful, like monsters that are traditionally immune to stun, basically. The movement speed is fantastic and really fun to play around with. I don't think that you'll be finding game-defining builds with the Tabaxi, but that does not mean that Tabaxi is not strong in and of its own right. Also, these updates don't cover is the visual improvement. Tabaxi is the most visually complex race we've ever gotten. They have joints everywhere. They can move all their fingers. They can move their wrists, their arms, their dance movements. Their individual animations are much more complex. Their faces move, their eyes move, and they blink. So, and they have a million customization options. So I recommend you check it out if you have not seen it. Very, very cool. I hope they have more colors, because I complained about needing more colors. Anyway, UI changes. Hovering on your Epic Destiny points now displays a context-sensitive tooltip that reports your point breakdown. So for all the people that are like, what? Wow, my fate points got deleted. What do fate points do? There's literally a thing that'll highlight with color codes what it does. So it's easy to see. The ULFM UI difficulty display has been adjusted. That's fine. Hovering over a weapon now factors in improved critical feat. Finally. So instead of having to like be like, oh, the critical threat range is right in the inventory screen, but the multiplier is correct on the weapon, it's now just correct wherever you look at it. The character sheet has gotten a minor visual upgrade. It now shows your total level instead of your total action points. Several text and bounding box inconsistencies have been improved. The saves label is now saving throws, and it actually uses the right font. And the base attack bonus is now lined up correctly, and the base attack bonus amount is now centered, which is good. And then we have a variety of UI improvements relating to how we display character level have been made. So this is a bigger one. Your character sheet no longer shows epic class in its class breakdown. So it'll just have your level. It won't say epic 10. It'll just say you're level 30 and have your classes that you have. It sounds like trust me, it's very clear when we were looking at it. It like makes sense, and you'll wonder why it even just said epic in the first place. When someone requests to join your LFM, you will now see their total level in parentheses and then their class breakdown, which no longer includes their epic class levels. So it's name, level, classes. The benefit of this is that if you're like me and your quest group is 14 to 17 and some like 6 barbarians, 7 cleric, 5 fighter wants to join your group, you're not like, wait, okay, hold on, is that 17? 6 plus 5 is plus 7 is 18? No, that's one level too high. And you have to figure it out. Now it just tells you the level and then breaks it down afterwards. The character selection screen no longer has your epic class levels in it. Examining a player tells you their total level and their class breakdown, so no more epic level. And the guild who and LFM panel no longer shows the epic level. So all of that is good. And yeah. Also, you can now edit the who tab, the guild tab, and the LFM UI if you want to do skin mapping, if you want to do UI skinning. So if you're somebody who does that. And then finally, the last change that's here, there is a new gameplay option. Force heals to self when targeting undead. While true, when you target an enemy undead, any positive healing actions will be cast on you instead of the undead. Have you ever been about to die and you go, no, lay on hands? And you're like, your keyboard's right there in front of you and you're like, lay on hands, no. And then you press it. And your character channels their holy power. The paladin raises his hands, and he goes... And you hear the sound effect, and you watch the undead with 12,000 hit points take like 200 damage. And you're like, oh god, and then it just kills you. No more. Now you can force the lay on hands to go on yourself. You can force your healing to go on yourself, even if you have an undead targeted. Oh! Oh! What a change! It's beautiful! And this is a change I never thought we'd ever see in Dungeons & Dragons Online. So I am very happy to see this. So this is tomorrow. So the Tabaxi are coming out tomorrow, if you're unfamiliar. Wednesday the 27th. And the expansion, the Isle of Dread, releases on June 8th, 2022. So we have about a month and a bit. The actual pre-purchase details about what's coming with the expansion, we do not know. So we have to wait for later. Also, I like the dinosaur. There's a clause. I think the mounts are also coming tomorrow, but we'll have to see, because it says there's the pre-purchase items are from the NPC. Again, I don't know what the pre-purchase items are actually going to be, so we'll see. No more underwater leap of faith, that is correct.